In this video, I'll be discussing and illustrating two astonishing structures that have lots of art and history embedded into them. One thing about both of these structures I would like to mention is that they show viewers a style of architecture that is not so easily mistaken, especially when compared to other styles of architecture. The style of architecture that both of these structures show is Roman style and Corinthian style architecture, which a lot of people have heard of and have possibly seen somewhere. It's not that this style of architecture is commonly seen, but rather that this style of architecture was, and still is, one of the most influential styles of architecture. One of these structures is a very well-known structure that was actually the setting to a very popular 2000s film called Gladiator. The Colosseum in Rome is this massive oval-shaped building that is roughly 190 meters long and 155 meters wide, with a total height of 48 meters. The Colosseum was completed in 80 AD, which makes the famous tourist attraction close to 2,000 years old. The Colosseum, like other famous structures such as the Pantheon and La Maison Carrée, present many principles of design along with very few elements of art. Something that the Roman craftsmen and engineers did really well when designing this amazing structure is implementing both a very symmetrical and radial balance. Considering that the Colosseum is this massive structure, there really isn't much of an emphasis. But something that viewers will notice and pay close attention to are the arches seen consistently throughout the structure. Now we move on to the movement that is found throughout the structure's design, which in this case would be the three levels the arches are found on. Another thing viewers will notice are the patterns and repetitions seen throughout the Colosseum, which, alike to the emphasis in movement, would have to be the arches since they make up most of the Colosseum's exterior design. Now, in total, there are about 80 arches on all three levels, and 76 of the arches had Roman numerals that would help citizens find their seats, which is relevant to something we see in stadiums today. Out of the 80 arches, though, only 31 remain intact present day due to natural reasons. Mainly used as a place of entertainment that hosted gladiator games, which was when two fighters would fight to what could possibly result in death, and another form of events the Colosseum also hosted were venations, which were wild animal hunts. And the animals that would appear in these events were very ferocious and dangerous animals, such as lions and crocodiles. The Roman craftsmen and engineers that helped design this structure are unknown, but Emperor Vespasian had the Colosseum be built under his rule, but he never really got to see it as he died before it was completed. The Flavians left their mark on the capital of Rome in many ways, and one of them was the construction of the Colosseum, which still represents the capital more than any other building today. Now moving on to the second structure, which wasn't necessarily used for entertainment, but rather built in honor and dedication to a victory attained by Constantine the Great, or Constantine the First, who was the Roman emperor from 280 to 337 AD. The Ark of Constantine still stands today as a tall, beautiful structure that is under 70 feet high and 80 feet wide. This triumphal passageway was completed in 315 AD and was actually built right next to the Colosseum of Rome. Aside from our main focus, which is the Arch of Constantine, there are two other triumphal arches found in Rome, such as the Arch of Titus and the Arch of Septimus Servus, which have many principles of design and elements of art on their own. When taking a look at the front of the Arch of Constantine, we see the symmetrical balance pretty much right away, because it has this huge arch at the center of it and two smaller arches on each side of it. Now, like in the Colosseum, the emphasis seen in this passageway would have to be the huge arch we see in the center of the entire structure, because it is hollow and takes up a good portion of the design. A good example for this would be when you approach a tunnel, you don't look around it. Instead, you look through it and try to make up what could be on the other side. For the movement in this structure, it would have to be the patterns and repetitions seen throughout the entire structure. This includes the sculptures at the top of each pillar, the circle frames located in the middle, and the square frames in the top corners of the structure as well. Something that is seen consistently in this structure are the lines, which are seen making up most of the frames in the structure, giving the design what could possibly be, or what could possibly look like, layers. for us, the viewers, to visually see. Another thing viewers will notice are these shapes and forms in this structure. And as far as the shapes go, we see a few circles and rectangles, and for the forms, we see pillars, maybe cylinders, we see cubes, and even rectangular prisms. Viewers will notice that there is a lot of iconography involved with this structure because of the sculptures and reliefs embedded into it. But for the most part, most of the reliefs commemorate former Roman emperors, such as Trajan and Marcus Aurelius. The victory that this structure celebrates was when in 312 AD, Constantine took over the Western Roman Empire by defeating and overthrowing his co-emperor Maxentius at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. And soon after this victory, he became the sole ruler of the empire. In this video, I have discussed and analyzed two very important structures to Roman culture and history. All in all, the main takeaway should be this. Roman architecture is one of the most unique and beautiful styles of architecture because it's one of very few styles of architecture that mix art, architecture, and history all in one. Although both of these structures have more differences than similarities, they both correspond to the same culture and both have their histories and how they came to be.